decided to change things up a little bit. I got the Blazer all put together enough that I could drive it, drove it out here, parked it over in the other stall, and I'm going to put that off for a little while. And meanwhile, I have some work I need to do to this. Last time we took it out, I bent the drive shaft, sheared off the front center pin, and bent the right front spring. So I got to fix all those. And I had actually put a mini spool in the front just to test it. It was $50, and a lot of people say it wouldn't work, but I wanted to find out for sure, and it does work. It's just not the best setup. If you're going straight a lot, it'd be fine, but anytime you got to turn, it was a little bit of a struggle. I put hydro assist steer on it. That helped, but it was still a struggle. So I got a Spartan locker to throw on the front, and I got to do some work on the spring, straighten them out. I got a list here. Oh, the transmission wasn't shifting right. I think it's the modulator, so I'm going to swap that out. The heater core was leaking, so I got a new heater core for that. What else? Oh, the hydro steer, I needed to bleed it out as well. So I got a bunch of work to do to the front, and I'm going to do that after I get to the back. Now, since my drive line's bent, I am going to fix that, but since I'm going to do that, I don't want to do it more than once. I've been wanting to shorten this box up, make this a Shortbox wheelbase, cutting 14 inches out of it, and I've been putting it off. I bobbed the back, and the next thing I was going to do was this, and we decided to rush it. And then it only makes sense, I'll do the drive line at the same time. Oh, also the fuel tank. I got it mounted in the back, but I'm going to redo that as well. I'm going to mount that into the floor, recess it. But I got to get everything else done. But I'm going to start back here. And I'm sure I'm going to have to do something with my sliders. And so I'm probably going to have to shorten it up back here a little bit. But I won't know until we get there. And I'm not going to worry about that until I have to. I will have to do something with it. But anyhow, so that's what I'm going to get started on. And I think I'm just going to pull everything out of the back of the bed and go from there. The chainsaw, just ram. Oh, that'd be good, one of those chainsaw concrete cutters. You just burn right through it.
Good morning.
Oops. Okay, now that I got the bed off of here, I can get to everything I need to get to here. For starters, I'm going to get all the wiring out of the way. I'm going to take it completely out of the way and just kind of throw it up here underneath the cab or wherever to get it out of the way. I got a fuel line. I'm just gonna do the same thing. Disconnect what I can and get it out of the way. And my brake line. Now, some people just cut the brake line right here and splice it, but then you got to put two ends in a splice. I don't like doing that. So what I usually do is just take the brake line loose, and that way I can just move it out of the way when I'm doing my cut, and then take it loose off of the hanger back here, and then just kind of let it be. When I slide this forward, it'll be loose, so it'll slide out of the way. And then all I have to do is just bend it into the shape I want and put one end, redo the end on it one time. I don't have anywhere else I could potentially have problems. It's just one solid line to my junction. So that's how I do it. And then for my cut, before I start, I got to cut this brace off from my rock slider. I'm just going to cut it off the frame and cut it back here out of the way. That way I can get it in the work. Now I kind of roughed it in here how I'm going to cut it. I like to leave the front bed mount hole alone. That way I know when I put my bed on, that will line up in the appropriate place. I'm shortening my bed, so it should be the same. I'm cutting 14 inches out of it as well. But if you were doing this conversion and putting an actual short box on your pickup, that way you know you're going to have the right spacing from the cab, but you will at least get the front two holes and the back two holes lining up. And so this is how I'm going to cut it out. This is why I use a Z-cut. And I like the Z-cut because when you're done, you got this weld like this. No matter what you do, you need to reinforce that. I usually put a fish plate on here. This four-wheel drive, because of the terrain it's going to be on, I will box the frame in this area when I'm done to reinforce that. But so essentially that's what I'm cutting out, is right this piece here, and then bringing this up to meet here. So this is actually my formula, how I'm doing it. You can kind of see the pattern here. Essentially this is 6 inches, 8 inches, and 6 inches. So I'm cutting this 8-inch piece out, and then this 6 here and that 6 there will be a total of 14 if you just look at these two sections, because essentially that's what you're doing there. But that way I can close that up 14 inches, and I'm going to start 2 inches from here over, and then I'm just going to make a cut and a cut, and typically I just cut this box out, this whole center section. Then I can make a cut there, and then back the other way. And that's how I do this, and I start my measurement from there. You probably could, I have never taken the time to figure that out, measure using this bed hole. I don't, I just start there and go that way. It lines up, it works right. There's, like I was saying, there's probably a lot of different ways you can do this. This is the way I like to do it. So I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, you got to remove the drive line and shorten the drive line. So you're shortening the frame, the bed, and the drive line, and the brake line. You don't need to shorten electrical, you can just put a twist in it, curl it up and zip tie it together. Now that I told you all about that, I got to get it out. I got like a spiral corkscrew on here, so it's got a bad vibration, so I need to retube it anyways. So I'll shorten it with new tube, then I can drive her down the highway faster than 20 miles an hour. It was vibrating pretty bad at 20 or 25. So put this out of the way. So now before I start cutting, I need to, I'm going to clean these rails up a little bit more, and probably the most important thing is I need to level up the front end. My right front spring is bent. It's almost kind of collapsed a little bit. So I don't know if you can tell, but the pickup's sitting low in the right front. So I need to level that up, and then I need to block up underneath the cab. Because when I cut this off, I don't want it going. And then cut these off on both sides so I can get in here, and then we'll start laying out my lines. Okay, I've got it all leveled out, blocked up. I leveled up the front end so it's level. Block this up. I'm showing level across this cross member here, so that's about as close as I can get. Now I'm ready to start cutting. All right, so I'm going to start 2 inches from here. That'll be my first line. Okay, and then I'm going to measure 6 inches to my next line, and then 8 inches from that, 8 inches from that will be that one, and then 6 inches that. Okay. And this one's 8. And then this one is 6. Okay. And I'm just going to draw all these lines, and then I'll just have to keep track of which areas I'm cutting out. And I will cut right straight down the middle of these lines here. You could tape them off and then cut to one side of the tape line. Now I can see where 3 is. Dang it. Double check both sides. Oops. So I can use that for my straight edge here. All right, so I'm going to take this one out, and then obviously those two, and then this one. So I will not cut there, no, and I will not cut here, no. Okay. I'm going to go do the same markings over there. All right, there's the pieces that I cut out, the 2 8-inch pieces and 6-inch sections. Do yourself a favor, buy good quality blades. I picked these up cheap at Harbor Freight, but get yourself some better blades. Some of these were older blades, but just do yourself a favor, get good blades. And now I'm gonna just level this all up nice, make sure the sides flush and the top, and then I can tack it, and then I'll do this side first, get it all evened up and tacked together. Then I'll jump over and do the same there, level that all up and get it tacked. And once I feel good about it, then we'll just burn some good weld in there, and then I will fish plate the outside. I'll put a fish plate on the inside too, and then I'll box that in just for that extra strength. Don't want it breaking, especially in the middle. All right, got it sitting on all 4 tires. This here, I got it all welded up inside and out, but I'm gonna put a fish plate out here, so I need to knock down the weld, well, on the outside and the inside. Knock this weld down so I can get my fish plate to sit flat. And then, so I'm gonna get that cleaned up for that, and get me some fish plates made up, and a piece to go inside here to box that frame in. So. All right, I'm going to situate my brake line. So all I kind of do here is just re-bend these. I'll drill a hole and bolt that one back in up here, and I'll just bend all these so that they're not rubbing and doing weird stuff. All right, so this should pretty much take care of this. A couple of things I wanted to recap on. Shortening the frame 14 inches to a Shortbox wheelbase. I'm going to shorten the box 14 inches and the drive line about 14 inches. My drive line's bent, so I need to retube it. So I'm going to actually take a measurement, and because I've lifted and potentially move things around, I don't want to just shoot in the dark. I'm just going to take a measurement and get it retubed right. What else? Had to change the brake line end, just one new fitting. And also e-brake cable. Since we're going from a long box to a short box, there is a difference in the cable length. So if you want an e-brake, then you'll need to replace the e-brake cable. And I think that's the only other expense in doing this, other than Sawzall blades, wire, gas, paint, zip ties. What else? I think that's pretty much it. The Z-cut idea that I use, I actually originally found that on Coyote Customs. He does this for a living on C10s, shortens boxes on various years, various styles. And he did it this way, and I love the way he does it. A lot of different ways you can do it, and everybody will tell you one way's better than the other. I chose this way just because it seems stronger. Whether it is or isn't, I don't know. I just like the idea. So other than bleeding the brakes and putting the drive line back in it, this part of the project's done. So I'm going to wrap my video up here. I ran out of time. I don't have time right now to get to the box. So the box will be my next video. Yeah, I think I covered everything. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment or an email. I'll answer your questions, or if you want a picture of something, whatever, I'll send you that. So anyhow, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate you watching, and thanks a lot, and we'll catch up with you guys later. Bye.